What is going on, everybody? It is Monday morning, the 1st of February, starting another month. Can you believe that already in 2021? After all the stuff that happened in 2020, we're already through a solid month in 2021. And today is going to be kind of interesting. And of course, you can ask me any questions about your business. This live that I'm doing in the mornings is really just to kind of get your day going, to kind of help you guys out. Let's see who we got. We got Siddharth here. What's going on, buddy? We got the Leonidi squad. Not quite sure what that is. That's very cool. It says just back from a business webinar. Wow. Hey guys, Siddharth is 12 years old. So he's just back from a business webinar. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Joe Rogan Secrets. He's been terribly successful. If you don't know who Joe Rogan is, I'll fill you in on that in just a second. But man, there's a lot to learn from that guy. But any questions you have about your business, put those in that chat section there. Matter of fact, let me just put it here. Let's stick in there. Put all your questions about making money online here. So guys, you'll see that there. That should just pop up. And I really appreciate everybody being here. I really appreciate your attention. I mean, it's really cool that you guys, get up and you sit here and listen and you learn. And that's what we're doing. It's all about learning how to make money online. I was looking at some of my statistics the other day, and it had to do with my earnings on ads on this channel. Excuse me. And as of this morning, it was $36 CPM, $36 CPM. Now, I was listening to a person the other day who was a life blogger, and they're huge. They got millions of followers, much bigger than myself. But their CPM was $1.63. So that shows you the value of the people that watch this channel. You guys are worth more than anybody else because of what you do. Let's see here. Everyone doesn't say my name right anyway. It's fine. I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. I think that's disrespectful if you can't say somebody's name, but by the same token, I don't want to not try it. Says they love my videos. I really appreciate that so much. It's really kind of you to say. I want to talk a little bit, like I said, about Joe Rogan today, and I made some notes, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to look off to the side here and pull up my notes on him. But let's see what we can find out about Joe Rogan here. Joe Rogan, I want to pull up, I got so much notes on this guy, man. He was so interesting. If you don't know who he is, Joe Rogan is the most popular podcaster in the entire world. I mean, the entire world. Let's see, what is it? Squad says, no, it's fine. It's my hard last name. Oh, okay. All right. Where are you located at? Everybody put where you're located at now. I think this is always interesting to me. Joe Rogan actually was born in 1967, and he's 53 years old right now. He just made a deal with Spotify for $100 million. Now, it's easy to sit back and be in awe of somebody like him, but Siddharth says he started his own podcast. Really? Well, tell us what your podcast is. But when you look at somebody like Joe Rogan, he's done a lot. Okay, he's tried a lot of things. And I think that's one of the first key takeaways we're going to look at. He's a martial artist. He got beat up as a kid and decided that he didn't like that feeling. So he learned martial arts and became one of the top martial artists in the country, actually, at one point. He was on a TV show called Fear Factor. Some of you may remember that. Lonely Squad, 1993. I started my own podcast. Okay, 1993. Is that when you were born? 1993? Trying to piece this together here. He says, wow, Siddharth. He's impressed too. But so what he did was he was a host of Fear Factor. In addition to that, he was a martial artist, which I just said. In addition to that, he wanted to be a comedian. So he started doing that. And then he started a podcast from his living room. He had no intention of it ever going anywhere or doing anything. Let's see here. It is a podcast where I talk about business, stocks, sports, gaming, and just a fun podcast to interact. That's cool. Well, tell us where your podcast is, Siddharth. Maybe somebody wants to listen to that. So Joe Rogan, I would say one of the first keys to his success, if you want to look at it, and you can look at any people, that are really successful, is they try a lot of different things. They're not always successful at every single thing they do, but they try a lot of things. So the first step I would tell you guys is, what have you tried? What have you done? I know I've had a lot of stuff that failed. I started off selling cell phone cases online. I've been a public speaker, which I actually did very well, but I had to quit doing that because I got custody of my kids, couldn't be on the road. I've in my past, if you really want to go far back, I was a dishwasher in high school. I did do that. I bagged groceries at a grocery store. I drove a forklift in a pickle factory, of all things. I was a bartender. I was a waiter. I was a busboy. I was a stockbroker at one point. I am a pilot. I ran a air charter service at one point where we flew air ambulance and private air charters. I was in the car business. I sold cars. I was a finance manager, used car manager, new car manager, general sales manager. I was a vice president of an automotive group. And now I sell stuff online. So I would tell you that you got to try different things. You just got to try different things. And I want to pull out some more of the facts about him, because he really is an interesting guy. Like I say, he just did a deal, which they estimate, nobody really knows, $100 million deal for his podcast to be on Spotify, which I thought was pretty interesting. He did go to college. He participated in Taekwondo and karate. I did Taekwondo as a kid too, but he was good at it. He even won the U.S. Open Championship tournament for Taekwondo, which is pretty amazing because those guys are pretty good. He had a severe head injury at the age of 19, though, and decided that maybe that sport wasn't for him because you can actually get hurt. Let's see, what type of products did you sell as a speaker? Paul's asking that question. I didn't sell any products. Actually, I ran a dealership called McCune Chrysler in National City, California. We ended up becoming the #1 Chrysler dealership in the state of California. We were #3 in the nation. And based on that, I was training people how to make 6 figures a year selling cars, and I got really good at training people how to sell. So I started a seminar business where I traveled around the country and I trained all the top dealerships. I would usually have 200 people in a room a day, 2 days back to back, and give them a nice buffet lunch. And I spoke for like 6 or 7 hours on how to make 6 figures selling cars. So that's what I did, Paul. How many talks have you did? Oof. Wow. Well, I was doing that for 8 or 9 years, and I would do usually 6 or 8 cities a month, but each city I was in there for 6 weeks. So I was gone on tour 8 months out of the year, training automotive dealerships. And now I had their managers, I had the owners, I had the salespeople. So we had a pretty large group of people that I would train. But we had really good results. We had a lot of people who would attend and hit that 6-figure mark, which is what a lot of them want to do. But we had people making $250,000 a year too selling cars, which is good money for a car salesman. Nowadays, I don't know what it is. I got out of the automotive business I got out of it twice. I got out of it once to go speak on the road. And then I won custody of my kids. So I had to go back to the car business because I had to be in town. And when I was speaking, I was touring across the country, and you couldn't be touring all the time. So a bunch of them, a bunch, 8 or 9 years of that. And then I would go into the dealerships during that 6 weeks period of promotion, and I had sales reps that worked for me too. But I would go in and do sales meetings, probably 4 or 5 days a week. So just thousands and thousands of meetings, literally thousands. This channel here, I think we hit, 760 videos the other day. So I've done a bunch of videos on here, and they're all about 10 or 15 minutes long. I would say the first 400 aren't that good. I finally figured out what to do and what you guys wanted within the past probably 1.5 years, something like that. And they've improved dramatically since then. Not even 1.5 years. I'd say just a little over a year. Let's see here. It says, wow, that's great. How many talks? I answered that one. I answered how many products. Let's get back to Joe real quick here. Joe has also become one of the top comedians in the country, and he is funny, guys. If you get a chance to listen to Joe Rogan, listen to him. So anyhow, he started this podcast in his living room, and he just started interviewing people he thought was interesting. He'd bring them in, they'd sit down, they'd just talk about stuff. His podcasts are not, like this clinical, templated type podcast you hear at most places. I don't know if you watched him or not, but if you have, you'll notice it's more like you're sitting in on a conversation with a good friend. It's just, he's just kind of sharing his ideas. They share their ideas. He doesn't always agree with the person he's interviewing, which I think is super important. What kind of podcast is it if you're always agreeing with the people and you always pick people that you agree with and you always think the same way? That's boring. You need a little bit of conflict, stuff like that. That's what you need. So he started doing that, and he got really good at it. He got really good at it because of his interest in people. So that's something I'm going to tell you to use as a takeaway here, guys. How interested are you in other people? How interested are you in their life? The number one way you can get somebody to like you is act interested in them, and I mean genuine interest. Okay, you can't fake it. But if you have genuine interest in another human being and you care about them, they know that. And when they know that, it's like it just builds this bond. Let's see, Paul says his first ones are horrible, but he refined it. Yeah, well, we're always going to be horrible in the beginning, right? My first ones were horrible. And I'm sure I'm going to look back 5 years from now and look at this one and go, oh my gosh, I could have corrected this, and I could have done this, and I could have done that. But that's the problem, is that prevents a lot of people from doing stuff that they could become really good at. They could be amazing at it. I didn't do a lot of sports as a kid, but as I got a little bit older, I got more into Taekwondo, and I really enjoyed that and got better at it. But initially, I wasn't good at it, And initially, you won't be good at stuff, guys. You have to try stuff. You have to give your effort. You have to really put forth a lot of effort. Last night after dinner, I said, well, I didn't exercise on Sunday. I normally don't exercise on Sundays. And we have this thing called a mixed bike. And I said, well, I'll go ahead and get on that. And, you have a choice of a 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute, or 1 hour workout. And, I clicked on the 1 hour workout, and there were only 3 in there. There were only 3, and there's like hundreds of the other ones. And it shows that most people will commit to 15 or 20 minutes, but an hour is crazy, right? So I did the hour, and it was just a bike ride. I mean, it was not a big deal. But it's a narrated bike ride where there's somebody on the screen and they're telling you what to do and what heart rate zone you should be in and all that good stuff. I finished it, and I burned 825 calories, and I was really happy about that because I was like, I'm doing something extra. And the guy that was actually the host of it, said something funny. He says, I know you're committed because not too many people pick an hour workout. Not too many people will do that. And that's true, and they won't because that takes a lot of commitment. So the next thing I tell you about Joe Rogan is he kept doing that podcast, guys. He had a commitment level that was off the charts. He didn't care if people liked it, didn't like it. That wasn't the point. The point was he was interested in it, and he wanted to do it, and he was doing something he was interested in. And I want to look through here. I've got some other notes on him I think was terribly interesting. He was on, he got his breakthrough actually in 1995 on a sitcom called News Radio, where he actually was an actor. And he kind of was finding his foot as a comedian at the same time. And then he became a UFC backstage post interviewer in 1997. So now he's also a sports interviewer. So he's not just trying one thing, guys. He's trying all these different things. And this is true with somebody like an Elon Musk. This is true with anybody who's super successful. They just try a lot of different things. Let's see here. What else they have in here? Rogan hosted the show from 2001 to 2006, a show called Fear Factor. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was wildly popular. I remember my daughter, as a teenager, had a bunch of girlfriends over. We did a Fear Factor party, and they had to do all these crazy things. And I was a single dad, so I was always trying to come up with something fun for her. But that was really cool. Let's see. So important to take action and revise later. Yeah, I mean, because you don't know what works in the beginning. It's impossible. And if you only did things that always worked, how boring would that be? I mean, it doesn't feel like an accomplishment even. If every single thing you did worked out, always worked out, I mean, I wouldn't even want to try anything. I really wouldn't. I mean, most of the things I do now is I want to see if it'll work. I want to see if it'll work. It's kind of cool to see that. Let's see here. Yes, somebody agrees with you, Paul. All right, let's get a little bit further into Joe Rogan here. So when he did Fear Factor, it kind of gave him that national exposure that he needed. And 2001 was really one of his best years because he did the Fear Factor. He went back to his UFC job doing that. And let's see, Dana White actually hired him as a broadcaster at that time and commentator because, I mean, he had the skills. And if you think about it, you never know where you're going to use these skills. I mean, Joe Rogan did Taekwondo and karate and all that. And who would have thought that years later he'd be on TV and he'd be a commentator for UFC, which, it really kind of needs somebody who knows those particular skills. Let's see. I am finally definitely. Well, good. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to look through some of his stuff. In 2010, he became one of the top 100 podcasts on iTunes. Okay, he had over 16 million downloads. That's insane. And then he, of course, in 2020, he announced his deal with Spotify. He didn't say it was $100 million, but that was what was reported. So I'm not quite sure, how much he actually makes, but I'm sure it's a good amount of money. I know he just bought a $14 million mansion in Austin, where we're moving to. A lot of celebrities are going to Austin. It's a great town. So his main sources of income are earnings from his career as a comedian, which he still makes a ton of money. Paychecks from TV and movie roles, salaries from UFC as a color commentator, which is interesting. Income from the Joe Rogan Experience, and a $100 million deal with Spotify. So he's got a lot of stuff going on. And a couple little things about him personally. He in 2003 bought a $2.2 million mansion. Let's see, sorry about my writing. Oh no, believe me, you probably speak more languages than I do. I appreciate any comments that you put in there, guys. Any and all comments in there really helps me out. So please, everyone who's listening now, if you like what's going on, you like what's being said, you're enjoying the podcast. Look, I'm saying it's a podcast now because Joe Rogan's the live, whatever it is. Just put in there that you're enjoying it, you like it, or if you have a question, put that in there too. And it was also reported that he, spent $14.4 million, like I said, for a mansion in Austin, Texas. And that's a far cry from, just being a karate guy and trying to do some stand-up comedy and all that stuff. Now I want to talk about his car collection. I made a special note of this because I thought this was really interesting. If you're into cars, let me get a sip here real quick. And let me change my screen here so I can kind of see my notes. Here we go. Boom. Okay. I'm good to go there. So listen to this. He owns a $75,000 Barracuda. I didn't know they cost that much. Well, I know they didn't originally, okay, when I was a kid. But that's only one of his exotic cars, okay? He says here his car collection includes a Porsche 911 GT3 RS, whatever the heck that is. I know what a Porsche 911 is. MK4 Toyota Supra, a Ford Bronco, a Ford Mustang, a BMW M3, a Chevrolet Nova. We had a Nova when I was a kid that was made fun of because Nova in Spanish means no go. And they tried to sell them in Mexico and nobody would buy them. They couldn't figure out why. A Tesla Model S, a 1965 Corvette Stingray, and a Plymouth Barracuda. That's what's known. Who knows what else he's got going on? I mean, he could have all kinds of stuff. Let's see here. So many successful people have common traits. Persistence. They have a plan and take action, just like you can't learn to swim without getting in the water. No, that's true. And you're going to fail in the beginning. You're not going to do well, and it's scary. And I think swimming is a good analogy because anybody who swims know it's scary the first time. I remember my dad teaching me. It was scary. We were at the Navy enlisted pool, and he kind of threw me in and said, "This is what you got to do," and taught me how to do that. Now, some other things about Joe, if you're interested in Joe, which I am. Let's see here. Occupation. His wife, her name is Jessica Ditzel, and she was born July 18th, 1975. She's a TV producer and model, but she was actually a waitress. That's where she started out, okay? So wherever you're starting out, it doesn't matter where you start out. It matters what direction you're going, guys. I see a lot of people say, well, I'm just a cashier, or I just work at McDonald's, or I'm just a bagger, or I'm just a waitress. No, that's just what you're doing right now. That's not who you are. The direction you're going in and how hard you work in that direction, that's what's going to make all the difference in the world. She does have 2 children with Joe Rogan. He's very secretive about that, I will tell you that. Let's see, she was born in Sugar Land, Texas, so that may have something to do with the fact that he's moving to Texas, right? She got a degree in arts and technical theater from California State University. She also says she's got a second degree in psychology and molecular and cellular biology. Okay, so there goes the myth that models aren't smart. Obviously, she's pretty darn smart. The Lonely Squad says, "What was your first talk?" Wow, I hate to think of that story, but it's a really good story. I will tell you, in the late 80s, I was a manager at the Chrysler dealership I ended up managing, being the general sales manager, and I was a used car manager. And the general sales manager always did the sales meetings. He was really good at it. He could motivate people, and he was very well spoken. And I was not. Okay, I was not a speaker. I was not, the kind of person who could get up and talk to people. Or, as a matter of fact, in high school, I wouldn't even get up and read from a book. I would rather get a failing grade than do that because I was so embarrassed. And it came to be one day that he was going to retire. He was going to stop working at the dealership, go out on his own and do his own thing. And he offered me the position of the general sales manager to run the car dealership. And I was frozen in fear because I thought, oh my God, I'm going to have to speak in front of all these car salespeople. I'm going to have to do the sales meetings. I can't do that. I can't do it. There's no way I'm going to be able to speak in front of people. And I wanted that job really bad. I needed the money. I needed the money. I had a lot of debts and stuff, and I really wanted that job, but the only way to get that job would be if I could be able to do those sales meetings, which I couldn't do. I couldn't do them, couldn't do those sales meetings. So I decided I was going to work on it. So I got up early and went to what's called a Toastmasters meeting. I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I think I had to be there at 7, something like that. And every morning I would go to Toastmasters International, and I would go up and I would learn how to speak in front of people. It was just so difficult for me, so very difficult. But after a while, I got pretty good at it, and I started winning these little awards and ribbons and stuff. And I became good enough, I thought, to where I could take his job, become the general sales managers, and do sales meetings. So I started doing those sales meetings, most feared thing I've ever done in my life. And I got better and better at those sales meetings. And I got better and better, and I got better and better, and I started, where people would want to come to the sales meetings. It wasn't a matter of, oh my God, we're going to go to the sales meeting this morning. I would have stories, and I would have activities, and I would work with people, and I would show them how to do different things. And that sales meeting, it was like even when people weren't supposed to be there in the morning, they had the late shift, they would come in early just to go to the sales meeting and then leave and go back and do whatever they're going to do for the day. And I realized that it was kind of fun, so I started attending a lot of seminars on sales and stuff like that, and one in particular I really enjoyed was Jim Rohn. And I don't know if any of you guys know anything about Jim Rohn. He has since passed away, but put that in the chat section if you know who Jim Rohn is. And I went to him and I watched him, and I was like, wow, this guy is amazing, because he would come up with no lights and no glitter or any of that. He just had this like notebook type thing. I guess it was his journal, and he would slowly open it up, and he would look at some of his notes, and he would just talk. But he would just mesmerize the room with what you could do. He was a motivational speaker, I guess you could call him that. And I just thought, wow, that is so cool. What if I could actually do that for a living? What if I could just go around the country and just talk and make a living? So I set out, and my first city was Houston, Texas, and I needed to sell 50 tickets to break even. And I think I was selling the tickets for $199 or something like that. It wasn't a lot of money. And I think I sold 21 or 22 tickets, and I actually lost money, and it was pretty much a bust. I mean, I had some people show up, but it was not good. I mean, I spent 6 weeks, marketing myself to sell 21 tickets, and I didn't want to give up. I couldn't give up at the time because I'd quit my job. So the next city I went to, I'm trying to think where I went. I went to Dallas after that. Dallas was much better. I think I sold 80 or 90 tickets. I actually made a profit. And that kind of snowballed. And for the next 8-9 years, I was on the road. I ended up hiring sales reps, and they would market my seminars. And I would go into a town, and I would do back-to-back, 2 days of talking on how to sell cars and make money, and a little bit of motivation too. And that really paid all my bills for many, many years. And that's what I did. I became a professional speaker. But the funny thing about the story is, right, do you remember the beginning? I was afraid to do a sales meeting. I was afraid to go up there and talk in front of all these people, guys. So I don't know what your story is. And I bring up Joe Rogan because he just tried thing after thing after thing. And some of them were really successful, and I'm sure some of them weren't. I've heard him talk about like some of the comedy sets he would do, and they were just terrible, and people would walk out and there'd be nobody in the room, and nobody would laugh. They were laughing at him, not with him. So it really is a matter of, let's see, we've got to come in. Will you be holding an event in Texas when this is over? Your favorite car sales guy is Joe Girard. I know of Joe Girard. I don't know him. He's not a friend or anything like that. But he did stuff years ago, like in the 60s, 70s. And he did like crazy stuff, like go to a baseball park and take 100 business cards and throw them up in the air, and some people would grab them and go buy a car from you. I don't know if that would work, but that's the kind of stuff he talked about. So I used to have anxiety because I was scared of talking in front of people, but you helped me. You are great. Oh, that's very kind of you. And the whole fear about talking in front of people, you're actually opening yourself up, okay? And I think a lot of people want to talk in front of people, but they only want to show the good side of themselves. And quite honestly, guys, we all have bad sides. There's nobody that's perfect all the time. It doesn't exist. And as soon as you realize that the people you're talking to aren't perfect and that you aren't perfect, it's kind of easy to talk to them. If you're honest, just be honest. That's the biggest thing I would tell you. Jim Rohn was a great speaker and awesome books, but not crazy about his voice. Oh, I loved his voice. I loved his voice, that whiny kind of up and down. And what do you do? Yeah, I loved his voice. It was great. But see, there you go, right? Some people are going to like your voice and some people are not going to like your voice. And some people will pick on you for your voice. There's always somebody who's going to try to bring you down. I'll tell you that people who normally try to bring you down have done nothing with their lives. They just haven't. And that's just what you helped me with. Oh, that's great. Oh man, it makes me feel good. I have this fear of marketing my shop, even on Instagram or Facebook, but I have to get over it if I want to succeed. That's exactly right, Salma. Salma Muhammad. And tell me where you're from too. We're getting a lot of people from around the world, and I love meeting people from around the world. I can't bang on the desk; it shakes the camera. But I love the different foods. I love Middle Eastern food. I had some friends that were from Saudi Arabia when I was, 18 years old, and I used to go over their apartment, and they had this big carpet they would put on the ground, and they had this big platter they would bring out, and they would have the chicken, and they would have all the rice and everything. We would just eat with our hands, and I really got to where I love Middle Eastern foods. I later got into Iranian foods. I love some of their stuff, really good. The chila rice, just love it. I love international foods. It says, I'm in Toronto, Canada. Ooh, it's cold there now, isn't it? I bet it's cold. I bet it's really cold. Let's see here. Lo Inedi Squad. I'm going to try again. Because has a kid, my mom and dad are divorced, and they got in fight every day, and so I started watching your videos, and it helped my family get back together again. Wow. I'm glad that happened. I'm sure it wasn't anything to do with me, but I'm really glad that happened. That's very good. Originally from Somalia. Oh, wow, what a beautiful country. I had a friend, I used to be on an ambulance in Virginia Beach. That was my volunteer work. She was from Somalia. Beautiful woman, and really nice person. And yes, they have some great food too. And I also love Ethiopian food. Injera. Oh my God, I love some Ethiopian food. Matter of fact, we had that just probably a few weeks ago. I made it at home because the Ethiopian restaurant I really liked here actually went out of business, which was a shame. So it's really cool to see you guys from so many different places here. Let me get a sip real quick. And let's see if we got anything else on Mr. Rogan here. What's going on with him? Let's see. Joe Rogan didn't want to be married until he met his current wife, Jessica. And I'll tell you, that's funny because I was married and divorced, and I never wanted to get married again. Never. Until I met my current wife, and it was like, that was all I could think of. That's what I wanted because she was such a cool person. And that's the whole thing about marriage. You shouldn't be out there going, well, I just want to get married. You should find the right person. And if you find the right person, you guys will actually help each other move forward, grow, become better people, and she's done that for me. Definitely. I would not have what I have without her. Let's see. They got married in 2009. Had a daughter, had a second daughter in 2010. So yeah, that's kind of like the background, Joe Rogan. Oh, and he's not super tall. And if you think you got to be super tall, I got to plug this in. I see the power going away here. Whoa. Let me get this real quick. All right, we're charged up now. We're about to lose our power there in the middle of a live. We can't do that. So yeah, if you think you got to be real tall, Joe Rogan's 5'7". So you don't need that either. You don't need any of this stuff. Okay. One of my most admired people, I think, was Sean Stevenson, and you can look him up. Sean Stevenson. He passed away about 1.5 years ago. He was confined to a wheelchair, and one of the best motivational speakers I think I've ever seen in my life. He was really amazing. Paul says you definitely married up. Thanks, Paul. Let's see. Melvin Lunar says, I am scared of marriage. No, you're not. You're not scared of marriage. You just haven't met the right person. When you meet the right person, it's like that's what you'll want to do. You just will want to do that. If you're scared of marriage, that means you're probably around somebody who you shouldn't marry. That's in my opinion. Leonidi Squad. I'm for El Paso, Texas. El Paso's cool. It's cool. You know, we picked Austin because it's a digital marketing town. It's got really high growth. And the weather's good. I mean, the weather's very similar to San Diego. Yeah, it's got humidity in the summertime. It's a little bit hotter. It's a little bit colder in the winter. But, you know, like, for example, today, if we just look at today alone, I'm going to look up San Diego and then I'm going to look up Georgetown, Texas, which is where we're moving. We got a high of 65 today, a low of 45. And in Georgetown, what do we got going on? There's a high of 62 and a low of 33. So not much difference from San Diego. I mean, not much difference at all. Guys, let's finish this up with any questions about your business. Anything that you'd like to know about your business, anything you'd like to know about my business. You know, you're welcome to ask me any questions you want. See, I'm moved to Colorado at 5 years old. Oh, wow. Okay. And how old are you now? Squad, how old are you now? I'm kind of curious. Are you from Pittsburgh? No, I'm not. I'm not from Pittsburgh. I actually was born in Norfolk, Virginia. My dad was in the military, so I lived in Cyprus, Nicosia, Western Germany, a whole bunch of weird places. I went to school in Memphis, Tennessee, high school. I also went to high school in Denellen, Florida. Went to college in Norfolk, Virginia. Moved out to California and San Diego in the mid 80s, and then moved back in the early 90s to Virginia, and then in 2012, 13, moved back to San Diego, and now we're going to Texas. So you don't have to stay in one place. It's not necessary, right? But I now live in Pittsburgh. Okay. And you're 27. Very, very cool. What do you do now for a living? I'm curious. Mr. Squad, I guess it is. It's not Mrs. It is got to be Mr. But my daughter loves you. Your daughter, and she is 7 years old. Wow. That's amazing. And I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad that you guys are getting something out of this. My son is 5. Good for you, man. So you're lucky. You're very fortunate. You got a daughter and a son, and that's enough to motivate anybody to do anything, right? I mean, that's just something that's very, very cool, and you really can't put, anything on that as far as a value, because it's just amazing. Let's see what Salma Muhammad has to say. You mentioned you used to sell cell phone cases. How did that go for you? I am doing that now and will expand into other markets such as digital prints on Etsy once I master this or semi-master it. Okay, don't go by what I did. I sucked at it. I sucked at it. Because what I did, and I don't know if I did the right business model. When I started out, I looked and I saw that cell phone cases was the #1 item selling on eBay. So I reasoned that should be pretty easy to do. It was not. Because back then you had to buy like 50 or 100 of the same cell phone case, then list them, and then I would have to package them up, and I would make like 50 cents or $1, and then you would sell like 10 or 20 of the 100 that you bought, and then all of a sudden people would switch their phones, and that cell phone case was no longer needed, and I took those cell phone cases and I put them in my closet, and then I bought another 100 of another one, and I ended up with a closet full of cell phone cases that I couldn't sell. So I'm not your poster child for that. However, I don't consider it a failure, because from that, I learned how to sell on eBay, and I learned how to list items. I learned how to set up my PayPal account. I learned how to ship items out. I learned all those things that were fundamental to the business I own now, which is a survival food company where we do millions of dollars of products. But if I hadn't started selling cell phone cases first, I needed that groundwork. Okay, I needed that groundwork of what to do. Kind of like Joe Rogan, was a fighter, and he ended up becoming a commentator later on in life. You never know how it's going to help you. Let me get through some of these comments. They're all zooming in here. Did you do your own taxes starting out? Yes, I did, Paul, and it wasn't much to add up, so it was pretty darn easy. I wasn't making any money in the beginning, so it's simple to do those taxes. Once you start making money, then you hire somebody, I guess. Let's see. I am a farmer, dance instructor, and gymnast. Wow, that's pretty darn amazing. I am a ma'am. Okay, you're a ma'am. Very cool. And do you, Squad, do you have a YouTube channel, or, look me up on Facebook, friend me on Facebook. I have a lot of friends on there. I would love to, get to know you more, and maybe I can help you out. Let's see here. Just if you wanted to know. Yes, I do want to know who you are. Of course, I care about every single person. And that's another thing I'll tell you in your business, guys. don't think of people as just a number or somebody who you're going to make money on or something like that. That's like the worst thing to do. I mean, look at them as your friends. I mean, I've had a lot of customers that have actually become friends of mine that I would get on the phone and talk to, for a half hour, an hour, because they became friends. Let's see here. And let's see. When you started out selling online, where did you find products? Wow, all over the place. And I did have I guess, smarts to figure out, look and see what's selling on eBay and then find out where you could source that product. So that's kind of what I did. And then once I sourced it, I looked at what it was selling for versus what I had to pay for it. And I thought, well, can I make a profit on it? And if the answer was yes, I would go ahead and go forward with that product. But in that beginning, I didn't know anything about drop shipping. I don't even know if most of it existed. So I would have to buy inventory, pack it up and ship it out. And I really had a warehouse up until 2000. Of course, I started Survivalcave Food 2010, and I think I had my warehouse up until 2014, maybe. And then I farmed that out to a big company in Utah. But I had warehouse people in there packaging stuff, doing all that. Now we just pay what's called a 3PL to do all that for us, which is nice. Let's see here. I am doing print on demand, so no inventory, which is good. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're doing POD, that's a whole lot easier. Lonely Squad, Leon and D Squad is going to contact me, and we're going to become friends on Facebook. My YouTube channel is this. My daughter uses it. Okay, I will check it out. Let me just take a quick picture of it so I can check it out. And if your daughter uses that, cool. Do you have any videos on there, Squad? Do you have any of your own, or is it just your daughter? I'm going to take a picture of the screen so I have it. Let's see here. I don't use social media, but I do use YouTube. Okay, well, that's cool. Well, we can converse on YouTube. We'll be happy to do that. Guys, do you have any more questions about Mr. Rogan? Do you have any more questions that I could answer for you today? It's been a really good session. You guys have been so helpful and so nice. When you did your course, did you follow a template? Did you use Alibaba for any sourcing? Good questions there. I really didn't follow a template per se. I looked at people who were successful doing courses and how they set them up. Initially, my course I think was on Kajabi, which is where I started out. It's now on Kartra. Everything I have is on Kartra, guys. I mean, if you want the best marketing software in the world for the lowest price, you can't believe how cheap it is. Get Kartra. There'll be a link in the description once this video ends. It won't be there now, but when it ends, go there. You can watch a little video on what Kartra does. It does everything for you. You don't need any other softwares. Just get Kartra. And if you like it, you can actually get a $1 trial if you use my link. So check that out. I don't. But I will message you on YouTube. Okay, cool. Yeah, do that. I'd love to get a message from you. I'd love to talk to you. Sounds great. Also, guys, don't forget, if you haven't, and I'm not marketing like I should, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. Go ahead. I want to give you a second to do that. Let me wait. Okay, you do it. You subscribe. Now, once you subscribed and you click that big red button that says subscribe, a bell is going to show up next to it. You got to ring the bell. And what I mean by that is you got to click the bell and you got to turn on all notifications. That way, when I'm going live like this or I put up a new video, you will get notified in advance, and that way you don't miss anything. You don't have to come looking for anything. You don't have to waste any of your time. Let's see. When you sell a product, is there a formula to figure out price point to see if worth pursuing? Yeah, I mean, there is and there isn't. First off, it's got to be profitable. Okay, profitable is, am I going to make more money than it's going to cost me to get this product to this individual? And what I mean by that is, you got to look at shipping costs, you got to look at postage, you got to look at your time. A lot of people don't factor in time. You got to factor in time. When I was doing cell phone cases and I was making 50 cents or $1 for every one I put in the package, obviously that was not worth my time, but it did teach me some things. Okay, and I learned some things. Let me get another sip here real quick. But you also have to look at the cost of your item. So, if I were to say, oh, I want to make 30% on everything, that would be ridiculous if I was selling a $1,000 item, right? Because I don't need to make $300 on a $1,000 item. A lot of people will say, I need to make 30% on everything, and all my products are $20 or less. Okay, so you're making $6 on your $20 products. And then, I say, well, you could sell my food, and I've had people do this, and they're like, well, I'm only making, 15% or 20% or 25%, whatever it is. Actually, they make a lot more than that. And it's not enough because the percentage isn't high enough. I said, yeah, but you're selling $300 worth of an item, right? And if you're making, let's say 20%, okay, that's $60 versus your $6 on your $20 item. Which would you rather do? And it's still the same amount of work. You're just taking one order, giving it to me, and I ship it out. So you got to look at, how many of these items are you going to sell? What's your volume? And what is the cost of the item you're going to sell? So don't just go by percentage of profits. That's what I would tell you. That's not exactly a clear answer, but that's how I do it. Siddharth is back. Good to see you here. Thank you. Salma Mohammed says, oh, very cool. Let's see, or maybe you can do a private video or something. Sure, just, contact me and we can talk more. Would love to help you out if I can. So yeah, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the day. I got a lot of stuff to do. I want to go do a walk around the block, which I have not been doing. Get me a little exercise. I'm also going to work out this afternoon, but I also need to finish my webinar. I also need to edit some videos. Oh my gosh, I got a busy day. I got a really busy day. Matter of fact, we got so busy over the weekend, I have to have my daughter come back to work for us and put in more orders again. So that's what we're going to do. All right, guys, if you got anything else, put it in the chat section there. Let me know if you enjoyed this today. I wasn't going to do another live today because I've done a live every single day for the past, I think, 15, 16 days, something like that. Now I got to decide, do I do another live tomorrow? Is it in me? Do you guys want it? Let me know. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you here, and I appreciate those kind comments, and I appreciate you commenting in general. So you don't even have to be nice to me as long as you comment, right? We just want to get your input on stuff. I really appreciate it. Have you ever sold on subscription like supplements? Never, ever, never, ever would I ever do anything to do with health and fitness. I wouldn't do anything to do with it. I'm not an expert on that. I think a lot of the supplements are garbage, and I think it's like selling snake oil. And a lot of my friends wouldn't like me saying that because they sell that kind of crap. But no, I never sell that stuff. Never would, never have. Oh my God, yes. Okay. All right, guys. So if you want to hear more, put in there, just put in there, yes, more. If you want to hear more lives, put in there, yes, more. If I see enough yes mores, I'll do it. If I don't, I got to go work on other stuff because it's calling me. It's calling me. Okay. So all you got to do is put yes, more in that chat section if you want to hear more lives. Now, understand in these lives, you can also send me suggestions as to what you want me to talk about. Because basically I'm rambling. I'm just telling you about my life and different people I think who are interesting and trying to help you out with your business. Maybe give you a little motivation if I can. Maybe give you a little insight into what I did. Maybe that will motivate you to do something. That's all I'm doing with these. So if you want more, put yes more in that chat section there. And once I see some yes mores in there, then I'm not seeing them. So okay, there's a yes more. Okay, love this yes more, Paul. Okay, so I got a couple in there. So give me a few more. I know I get a lot of viewership on these after the fact because a lot of people cannot sit here. Yeah, more, Salma, cool. A lot of people can't sit here, at this time in the morning. They just don't have the freedom to do so. And understand, even if you can't, please come back and watch the lives. I've got a bunch of them in there. You can go back in there on various different subjects and different things. And I'm only here to help you. If you noticed, I haven't sold you anything. Don't want to sell you anything. I just want to help you out on these lives, okay? Thank you so much for being here, guys. Put a few yes mores in there. You can put 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 if you want. Fill it up, because if you do, the more interaction this video gets, of course, YouTube's going to show it to more people. Give thumbs up. Yes, Paul, appreciate it. And share it. Share this channel. Share this video. If you think it's going to be helpful to somebody, you think it could help them out in their situation, and we're going to talk about various different subjects, please, share this. I would really appreciate you doing that. Give me a thumbs up down there. Don't forget, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. I will change my name so it is more easy. You don't have to do that. You do what you do. James Breen, where you been, James? Austin is also a great music town. Yes, it is. It's great for music and tech and food and everything. I think I'm going to love it. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here.